Now, I would like to invite a very special poet, a guest, Dr. Rameez Naqvi, who specially traveled here for this session. Dr. Rameez Naqvi is known as at Poetry by Rameez. He has been writing poetry on Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam in the journey of faith since the age of 13. Beginning in local gatherings and community events, he developed a voice rooted in devotion, contemplation, and performance. His work has been evolved into a deeply reflective craft, weaving a metaphor, history, language, and structure to explore meaning and spiritual discovery through poetry. Dr. Rameez completed his medicine degree from UCL and practices as a doctor, as well as refining his craft as a poet. Please welcome Dr. Rameez with a loud salawat. For Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
My dear scholars, my dear elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. I want to just begin by saying a big thank you to the Peterborough community for such a warm welcome and for a very kind invitation to such an amazing, inspirational event. As the dear brother mentioned, my name is Rameez, originally from the Essex community. I've been asked to write a few words on the literary prowess of Imam Ali alayhi salam in honor of today's event. And when given such a task, I think it's incumbent upon all of us as writers and listeners that we are the ones benefiting from the process of creation. We are the ones benefiting, not our audiences. To spend a few moments reflecting upon the true meaning of being an artist of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and the true meaning of being a poet of Ali. In this piece, I try to essentially share the reasons as to why no words can do justice to Imam Ali. I also reference a few historical literary milestones, such as how under Imam Ali's leadership, the Arabic diacritics were added to ensure that the words of the Holy Quran would not be mixed up. Without the fatha, kasra, dhamma, the word deen, meaning religion, could be mispronounced as dain, meaning debt, and the meaning of the verses could change entirely. This idea then later developed to incorporate the dots that we see in the Holy Quran, which now separates the letters tha from ta, da from sad. Non-Arabs can now pronounce letters correctly without knowledge of the Arabic language. So this piece later references those additions and the additions of diacritics to the Arabic language. But I start with the idea of how I and how we strive to one day be able to call ourselves poets of Ali. With a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. To be a poet of Ali's, a visitor to the fountain of your praise and to drip only drops into its bowl. Through mismatched metaphors and slanted similes, ill-chosen letters or words, oh, to be a poet of Ali's. Writing beside lines exclaiming that he whose heart burns not with the love of Ali, such a heart is like an abode void of light. And beside inscriptions on domes, doors, and frame, every surface becomes a canvas for his name. To dip in ink, for he who ink overflows, ink itself begging just to be a stroke, a sign, a dot, to be a part of your prose, so readily onto paper imparted. Seeping through its fibers, seeping through hearts, calligraphic, pristine are the lines that by him are finished. And blessed are those words from the lines that he starts. To be a poet of Ali's, to prescribe salvation through speaking of his praise to the man that hears the stories of Khaybar in verse. Melodic mumblings and mentions of Ali as the first, let these blessings be felt, pulsating through hearts and burning through bone. For time cannot hold me hostage. For time cannot hold me hostage, canvases abundant, every wall, every stone, and just as the corner of the Kaaba bears a crack of calligraphy, broken by his birth and with his first cry sown, for language is my only limit. For language is my only limit, for if I could value without verbs, know names without nouns, if I could admire without adjectives and the above, if I could leave all language alone and laud with but lost letters and love, I would find myself amidst the library of your lovers, writing with quills that need no ink. Without these words that act but as veils, distorting what we think, sitting mute, but with the deep vibration of chords that all agree, like the beating of chests that beat in synchrony, with both the hands that wipe or wash or prepare carefree, all hearts will be beating, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Ya Ali. Every beat an oath that lives, but remains unwritten. I will ask my pen to write his praise, but the pen itself stutters. For words fail, Ali. Be that from a shyness of my request, or perhaps from respect. So odd to use words to describe speech that's above beings but below gods. For words will always fail, Ali. Words, letters, all fall at his doorstep, enough to disturb, disappoint, but not enter his door. For what letters? I ask, for what letters can talk to the man who gave Sheen its crown? The son of Noon, the shade of Tha, and Jim its womb, the very dot that itself balances the boat of Ba upon its shoulders. The man was the dot itself. And just like the boat of Islam is balanced, so fine, so free, the boat only sails straight upon the back of Ali. But I ask, but I say, some would say that he was not one. So would he be 2 dots below? So would he be 2 dots below? You would yearn that yesterday he had not yielded. And would he be 3 dots below? The alibi that the non-Arabs knew not the Prophet's prayer or Prophet's air. And would there be 4 dots below? None could explain or examine, no language or letter, for the dot is one. Ali is one who claims no better. For diacritics to be mistaken is forgivable. For diacritics to be mistaken is forgivable. For dots to be miscounted is forgivable. Yet Ali knew that if they were to mistake a consonant for another, if they were capable to switch religion for debt, indeed they could replace religion with the destruction of debts and desire and deviousness, and they tried to take it all, for they tried to take all they could. For you may take his titles. You may take his titles, yet the honor remains rigid. You may take his positions and dress yourself in his cloth. You may take his land, but give him a mound of mud to stand upon. And just as the world stopped upon settled sand, the world will still call out his name. And just as when Muhammad raised his hand upon a height, as if he was himself elevating Ali to heavenly ascension, saying that your hand is above all of those watching. And he who should hold this hand with love and delight, you shall join the language of the lovers. You shall join the language of the lovers. And if you scowl at the name that leads you to light, words of damnation will drag you to your grave. For upon this peak they stood as leaders. For upon this peak they stood as leaders and as friends. And the peak of eloquence rose. He who the peak of elegance had chose. So when this hand interlocked with the palms of Muhammad, a pact was made and a will was written. Writing that this day shan't be forgotten amongst days of celebration and days of glee. For today was the day the world should know to follow the path of Ali. So the son of faith held the hand of the radiant moon. The son of faith held the hand of the radiant moon, as Musa was to Harun, yet the people will split as the seas Words for him and against both heard in the breeze. So we write, recite, read, so that we may soon meet upon this fountain of his praise. Sitting without pen, without voice, at the end of his gaze, hoping that he will find the drop I had added and be pleased. Hoping that he will find the drop I had added and still be pleased, for speech will surrender, language will be lesser, but I still crave to one day be a poet of Ali's. Thank you very much.